Thank you very much for welcoming me here in Mumbai. What a great city. I will say it's a little cooler than Kolkata. Kolkata was absolutely beautiful as well. It was my very first time being on the East Coast, but it's always nice to come over to the West Coast where there's a beautiful ocean breeze in the daytime too. So that was a very nice welcome when I got here from on the airplane yesterday and came here to stay. I got to also stay right at the harbor. How beautiful it is by Gate of India. What a nice place you have here. I saw it actually from space this morning. You might say, how did I see it from space? Well, it was pretty neat. Last night I went to sleep. I wanted to make sure I got a lot of sleep before I came here, so I had some energy to talk to everybody. And before I know it, it was midnight, and I got a call from one of my friends up in space, as a matter of fact, Chris Hadfield, who is the commander of the space station. He's a Canadian. So he called and said, Sonny, he said, you sound sleepy. He said, where are you? I said, I'm in India. He's like, oh my gosh, I thought you were in the US. I'm so sorry, I didn't realize I was going to wake you up in the middle of the night. I said, it's okay. He said, where are you exactly? I said, Mumbai. So he actually sent me a picture of Mumbai that he took after I went back to sleep. A couple orbits, he was able to pick out Mumbai, and I was just showing it this morning to the people at the hotel. So we'll have to make sure you get a copy of that so you can see what your city looks like from space at night if you haven't seen already. So I don't have it, it's only on my phone, so I don't have it on a presentation quite yet. But it was pretty neat that this is how quick the interaction is. I'm not sure if you know also, just recently we launched the Soyuz, just last week. A Soyuz spacecraft from Kazakhstan, which that's how we get up to space nowadays. That's how I got to space this last time. But it was pretty neat because it used to take 2 days to get to the space station. And this last launch, they launched in the morning and were docked about 6 hours later. So that's pretty cool. This is the shape of things to come. And what's also neat about that is now we're putting things like the spider that I talked about, and you'll see her again. We put her and her friend on the SpaceX spacecraft, and about 6 hours after they undocked from the space station, they splashed down off the coast of California, and then they were retrieved and brought back actually to Washington, D.C. for display for a little while. So the shape of things that come has changed. I don't know if you realize this, but space exploration is getting more and more advanced every single day. So what that means is we're not as fast as 30 minutes takeout delivery, but we're about a 4-hour, 5-hour, 6-hour launch to space and come back to Earth, which is pretty incredible how things have changed just in the last year. So if you can accelerate that to your lives, I think most of the kids here are probably in, it looks like I'm thinking junior high school. What grade? What stage are you, most of you guys? Eighth or ninth. So, gosh, you guys, let's see, so you must be in your early teens, right? Something? 13, 14, something like that. So I'm just imagining, like I mentioned about the satellites, how much we've changed in 50 years. I'm just imagining what we're going to do in about 10 years. We have the space station up in space now, at least until 2020, maybe a little bit longer, we'll keep it. But in the meantime, we're going to build another spacecraft, and another spacecraft that's going to leave low Earth orbit and take us someplace a little farther. Maybe back to the moon, maybe to the vicinity of an asteroid, maybe onto Mars. So our space station is a test bed, it's a laboratory to learn how to do that and how we're going to build the next spacecraft. So I would envision that your generation of people will be the ones that will be flying that. I think, unfortunately, I'm getting a little old, and I won't be doing that. You guys will be doing that. Maybe I will get to fly in space maybe once more, but your generation is the one that's going to take us out of low Earth orbit, so we're looking forward to that. I'm going to show you a little video so you can see what we are doing in space right now, as a matter of fact, or what I did in space last year. I launched in July of 2012, and I just came back at the end of November of 2012, so not too long ago. I launched on a Soyuz spacecraft just like the one that just launched last week, but again, that took us 2 days to get there. There are 4 Soyuz that launched. This is part of the plan, 2 in the springtime and 2 in the fall. We overlap one after another. So you will see crews of 6. On a Soyuz is crew of 3, but 2 Soyuz are usually docked to the space station at one time, so there's 6 people living on the space station usually at one point in time, and then we alternate. So that's why you'll see a couple crews of 6. One of the things you'll also see, I already mentioned that it's pretty international, right? So we train with all our international partners who are taking part in the space station, which are, of course, the US, Russia, Japan, Canada, and about 20 countries from Europe called the European Space Agency. So there's people from all over the world who are working and training for the space station missions. So during the training, which is about 2.5 years, we go to all those different places for training to learn about their contributions to the space station, which means their modules, their laboratories, or their robotic arm. In the instance of Canada, they have contributed a robotic arm. And we have to learn also about all the science experiments that we're going to do while we're up there. And of course, we have to learn about emergencies. What happens if you have an emergency on board? So you'll see a little bit of training. You'll see our crews, you'll see a little bit of training. Then we'll get on with the launch. And then you'll see what it's like to live and work in the space station. And then what it's like to come home. Does that sound like a plan? Sound good? Okay, so if you don't mind, maybe we can start the video and maybe turn the lights down in the auditorium a little bit so we can see the video a little bit. And I will narrate for most of it. So here we are at the end of training, 2.5 years, and we get cake. Of course, that's always a prize at the end. But our training consists of, like I said, emergency training. Some of it on how to do spacewalks, so we're getting ready to learn about the airlock, as well as how to eat, what types of food we're going to eat. Again, here we are in the airlock. We are getting ready to, we knew we had one spacewalk. Also robotic operations. Here we are in the Russian part of the spacecraft, and we are getting ready for our spacewalk. So we trained in our real spacesuits, as well as in some mock-up spacesuits in the neutral buoyancy lab, which is a huge pool, so we can simulate microgravity in the pool. There's a little bit of volume. Maybe we can turn up a little bit of volume here. And this is the pool, getting in the pool to practice our spacewalks. Training ends in Russia, because that's the spacecraft that we're launching on. There's a lot of traditions. One of them is putting flowers on Yuri Gagarin's grave. And then we head down to Baikonur in Kazakhstan. We are there for about 2 weeks, and on launch day morning, we come out of our rooms. Well, we're there, doing a lot of exercises, but the rooms we stay in, we actually put our names on. There's been over 400 people going to space. Aki's door happened to be filled with names, so he needed a new door. So that's why his was empty. You can see he was signing in Japanese as well as English. I'm signing in English and Russian. Everybody learns English, and all our Russian colleagues also learn, Russian and English. Both of us learn both languages. This is our backup crew as we're getting ready our last press conference. I call this our final shower, our last shower for the next 4 months. As you can see, we're getting blessed. Aki mentioned it really doesn't matter what religion you are, you just sort of want to get blessed by somebody before you put yourself on a rocket, so it's a good idea. This is the morning of launch. It's about 4 hours before launch because there's a lot to do. One of the things is pressure check your space suit, make sure it works. This is the walkout as we're getting ready to go to the launch pad. A couple little good luck wishes as we get up onto the ladder to get into the spacecraft. It's a fully fueled spacecraft, and we're just getting ready to get into it and do the pressure checks of the spacecraft before launch. About 15 of our family and friends and the representation of my doggie was there watching us as we're getting ready to launch.
Liftoff of the Soyuz TMA-05M carrying Sonny Williams. You're in the launch phase.
Just to show you what this rocket looks like, it's liquid fueled, so the ride is really smooth inside. Actually, when you see pictures inside, you almost feel like it's just a photo. Here we are inside, and that's Yuri's daughter's doll in the corner, right there. Everybody brings a talisman, and she's also a gravity indicator. So as soon as she starts to float, we actually know that we're in space. It's a good indication. Getting ready to dock to the space station here. 2 days, like I said, in the little vehicle, and then we open the hatch and get into the space station. So 3 on the bottom were waiting for us, and we all got there, ready to work. A little bit of playing, but ready to work. We had to get ready for HTV, the Japanese vehicle, which was coming in 10 days. But in the meantime, we had to do a lot of experiments on ourselves. Some of the things are looking at our eyes. There's some issues that vision changes up in space because of intracranial pressure. We take urine and blood samples along the way and are able to freeze those samples so that we have a good idea of what happens to our metabolism while we're up in space. This is our freezer. It's minus 80 degrees and allows us to keep all those samples frozen until they're going to be ready to come home to Earth for analysis. Here's the Japanese airlock, and that's where we launched those satellites from, and you'll see that in a little bit. This is how we work with laptops, with also a microgravity glove box for different experiments. We have a robot up there. This is an experiment also. His hands are actually totally modeled like a human hand. Here's our spider, one of them. That is Nefertiti. We also had a second one, Cleopatra. The gentleman who proposed this experiment was the 18-year-old boy from Egypt, and that's why they got those names. We were getting ready for our spacewalks. Joe is there on the left. He was getting us all dressed up with Yuri to make sure our suits were on and we were ready to go. Aki was outside on the robotic arm for a lot of our spacewalks. That was me, that's that other picture. As we were trying to repair and replace that big old electrical box. That box had about 1/4 of the power of the space station going through it, so we needed to make sure it got installed correctly. That actually ended up being 2 spacewalks because everything did work as planned. So folks on the ground here were analyzing the box and in Apollo 13 fashion came up with a fix in about 5 days. And we had to use some rudimentary tools like this one right here and a toothbrush, in fact, to clean out the threads of the bulb to make sure we could get it reinstalled. We actually even had a 3rd spacewalk. There was an ammonia leak. And it actually still is, but we were able to transfer some ammonia lines to make sure that the leak was sustained for a little while. And so the station is good for another couple of years with that ammonia in the radiators. So that's us as we finished our last spacewalk in our cooling garment there. We were very happy to be complete and back inside. Now this big silver ball, this is sort of cool. This is a Russian spacewalk. Yuri and the other commander, Gennady Padalka, went out on a spacewalk in between some of ours and launched this big ball. It is actually like a satellite. And the folks on the ground could track it, and so that way they have an idea how to make a math model for debris that's coming up back into the atmosphere. And if you can imagine in these big gloves, Yuri was able to actually take a really nice picture of the satellite as it was flying away very fast. Very difficult to take a really good picture with the big gloves on. Not only did they do this, but they're also getting ready to add another module this year. So to do that, they had to move this big crane, which is called Strela, to get ready to deploy the piece of the module that it was mounted on for the next module. These are the Japanese satellites. And that just by Spring Force, they were launched. We actually launched 5 of them, 3 little like this and 2 others. That's the solar array in the background. Like I said, there was ATV, the European spacecraft that left us while we were there, just to get a good look at what that looks like. We also had our friend, the SpaceX vehicle Dragon, come up and join us. Aki was the one who took it with the robotic arm, grabbed it. Right here with the robotic arm, as you can see, and then I got to dock it to the space station. We also had the Japanese vehicle HTV that Joe actually grabbed with the robotic arm. It has external capability, which means it has boxes that can just stay outside, so we don't have to bring them inside. There's Aki and ATV, so you get an idea of the size of these modules. They're very big. So it's a little scary when they come and hover real close to the space station. As you can see, it's right out the window right there. This big module is flying essentially formation with us. And that's as it is departing to come back into the atmosphere. HTV, ATV, and the Progress vehicles actually take home our trash. They don't really take home. The trash burns up as it comes back into the atmosphere.
I'd like to thank
So Gennady and his crew had been there for about 4 months, and they were getting ready to come home. He handed over command of the space station to myself, and they jumped in their Soyuz. You see how crowded it is, and landed out on the steps of Kazakhstan. Nice soft landing. So we were left just 3 of us alone in the space station. It's huge. It's like a 747. So there was plenty of room for us to fly around. It felt sort of empty up there, but life goes on, and you continue on with your normal things that you normally do, as well as all the experiments. We can increase the volume.
You lie down as you're in a bed. Not really, because it doesn't matter. You don't really have a sensation of lying down. You just sit in your sleeping bag. So here's one sleep station right here. I'm going in right now. You can follow me if you want. So inside, it's sort of like a little phone booth, but it's pretty comfy. I've got a sleeping bag right here that we sleep in, so we don't have sort of like a little bit of a cover, and we don't fly all over the place. But you know, you can sleep in any orientation. I have it sleeping, feeling like I'm standing up right now, but like you saw, I'm on the floor. But it doesn't matter if I turn over and I sleep upside down. I don't have any sensation in my head that tells me that I'm upside down, so it really doesn't matter. The sleep station is also like a little office. We've got a computer in here. As you can see, we've got a couple little toys. I've got some books. I've got some clothes and other things that make it sort of like home.
This is in the front of the space station, and we've got 4 sleep stations. As you can see, I'm demonstrating where they all are right here. And then we have 2 more in the far end of the space station where the Russians' main hub is.
How to use the bathroom, and how do you actually live in space like normal, like at home. I mentioned real quickly about getting up in the morning and brushing your teeth and washing your face. Well, how do you do that? Well, here is the bathroom, essentially. You get up in the morning, and we have a little kit, and it has all the essential things that you need, like your toothbrush and toothpaste and brush. See how much better the brush makes my hair look? People ask about toothbrush and toothpaste. So, luckily enough, toothpaste, you can do it upside right this way. It's sticky, and so it sticks to your toothbrush. No problem. Another cool thing is that water sticks to your toothbrush too. You can see it. I'll have some water come out. The water is pretty neat up in space. It'll stick to your toothbrush, and it will make a big bubble. And that's just by surface tension. And then you can drink it. So a lot of people ask about what do you do with the toothpaste after you brush your teeth. Two options. Swallow it, and it's sort of like mouthwash. But it tastes a little gross. Or you can just spit it out in a paper towel, and then you don't have to worry about it. One of the most pressing questions about living in space, of course, is the bathroom. So let's take a look at that little piece of work. Here we are at the throne. This is awesome. You might see the little, you might have noticed the little moon on the outside. This is our orbital outhouse right here. And of course, it serves for 2 functions. Number 2, right here. I'll show you. But you see it's pretty small, so you have to have pretty good aim. Make sure things get let go the right direction. And it smells a little bit, so I'm closing it up. And that's of course for number 2. And this guy right here is for number 1. So they're sort of 2 slightly separate functions, but you can do a little, essentially both by hanging on right here and doing number 1 and number 2. I might add it's color-coded so you really don't get it mixed up, which is nice. This is yellow for number 1. And also there's a selection of paper. People always ask about toilet paper. What do you do with toilet paper? What kind of toilet paper do you have? We have gloves just because sometimes it does get messy. We have some Russian wipes, which are a little bit coarse if you like the coarse type of toilet paper. We have some nice tissues, which are nice and soft if you like soft toilet paper. We have Huggies, just for any cleanup. You know, we were all babies once, and this sort of helps. And then as things get really out of control, we have disinfectant wipes, just to make sure we clean up here. Because, you know, just like the water I showed you, the #1 stuff can sort of go all over the place if you don't aim correctly. And did I mention, both of these have a little bit of suction, so they should keep things going in the right direction. But, like I said, sometimes things get a little out of control if you are out of control yourself flying around. So we have lots of protective stuff. And of course, you do have your privacy. There's a little door. Here's a pretty cool place. This is sort of like in your house where everybody meets in the morning. After you wash your face, brush your teeth, you want to find something for breakfast. And this is our kitchen. You might notice there's all sorts of foods here. It's like opening the refrigerator. You got all your different stuff that you want to have: drinks, meats, eggs, vegetables, cereals, bread, snacks, and that's a good place. That's where you find all the candy. Side dishes, and then some little power bars just in case. So we have all this type of food. Some of it is dehydrated, and so we have to hydrate it, fill it up with water. Some of it is all ready-made, and then all we have to do is heat it up. So something like this, I'm pulling out barbecued beef brisket. Pretty yummy. Not only is this food made in the U.S., but we also have food here from Japan. We've got Russian food. As you can see, all these red containers are filled with food that's from Russia. And then we get some of our specialty stuff, some things that we like, some of our favorite stuff that your family can send up. In fact, I like fluffernutters, and so I got sent up some fluff so I could make my fluffernutter with peanut butter. So you have a lot of food up here, no problems.
So, sort of in the same modules called Node 3, right on the other side of the treadmill and the bathroom and the weightlifting equipment is the window. This is the cupola. It's a 6-sided window with a big window looking down toward the planet. And we call it the black hole because you can find yourself in there forever. All you want to do is hang out and watch the planet go by. And you think to yourself, well, it's just daytime. As soon as it turns nighttime, I'll go back and start working. But all of a sudden, the world starts going by at night. And it's just spectacular. And you just find yourself being there for hours and hours and hours. And like I said, time goes by. You know, you still have to do a lot of work up there, but you're spending a lot of time in the window, and then all of a sudden it's time to come home. So we handed over the spacecraft to Kevin, Oleg, and Yevgeny, and we got ready to get back in our little Soyuz and come back to Earth. So like I said, it just takes about 4 to 6 hours, and you undock from the space station. Right here you can see the Russian display of the Soyuz spacecraft. You can see us flying away from the space station, our little spacecraft right there. And then pre-dawn hours in November, when it was like minus 13 degrees, we landed in the steppes of Kazakhstan. You can see the vehicle there is pretty charred up as it comes through the atmosphere, goes through some major heating. And the rescue forces are there with helicopters, and they pull us out as soon as they can get the hatch open for us to be there. We go through some quick medical exams, but before we know it, we're changed out of our spacesuits into a flight suit like this. We get on an ATV, an all-terrain vehicle, for about a 20-minute ride to each of our respective helicopters, and then get in a helicopter for about a 2-hour ride, get to a major airport where we get on an airplane, and within 24 hours of coming back from space, we're back in Houston. Aki and I were back in Houston, and Yuri was back in Moscow. So that's what I call our little vacation from Earth. It was too short, just like everybody feels their summer vacation is too short. Wish we could have been on vacation a little bit longer. But here we are back and getting ready to talk to you guys about what we did and hopefully get you excited to be the next generation of explorers. So thank you very much.